So GT3 racing looks simple, right? Until the announcers start saying things like BOP, homologation, Pro-Am, driver ratings, and stints, like everybody knows what that means. So today I'm going to break down 10 GT3 terms that every beginner needs to know, quickly, clearly, and without this turning into a classroom. Let's get into it. Okay, let's do a quick GT3 refresher. GT3 is a racing category built around race-prepared versions of cars you recognize like Porsche, BMW, Mustang, Ferrari, Mercedes AMG, and more. These aren't regular street cars with racing stickers. They're dedicated race machines based on familiar production models. GT3 is also a rule set, not one championship. That's why GT3 cars can appear in IMSA, GT World Challenge, WEC, and several other racing series. Now let's learn the language. First up is multi-class. Multi-class racing means different categories of cars compete on the same circuit at the same time. In IMSA and WEC, GT3 cars share the track with much faster prototypes. However, each category has its own competition. A GT3 car could be 15th overall, but second within its class. Think of it like one marathon containing separate divisions. Everyone shares the course, but you're judged against the competitors inside your division. For a GT3 team, class position is usually what matters. Second, we have BOP, or Balance of Performance. A Porsche 911, BMW M4, Ford Mustang, and Ferrari 296 have different engines, shapes, and designs. Officials can adjust minimum weight, available engine performance, boost, air restrictors, or ride height to keep those cars within a similar performance window. Think of BOP like an audio engineer adjusting different instruments. The instruments remain different, but one shouldn't overpower the entire song. BOP doesn't make the car identical or guarantee a close finish. It simply reduces the natural advantage one design might have over another. Next, we have homologation. Homologation means a car has been officially approved to compete under a specific set of technical rules. The manufacturer submits the car and its specifications for approval. Once accepted, that becomes the recognized racing version teams are allowed to use. Think of homologation as the car receiving its racing passport. Without it, the car cannot officially enter the category. For 4 and 5, we have driver ratings and Pro-Am. GT3 drivers are commonly placed into 4 FIA categories: bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. The ratings considers factors such as age, career history, racing achievements, pace, and results. It isn't simply a live ranking of who is the fastest that weekend. Think of it like the overall rating assigned to a player in a sports game. Those ratings help championships build different types of lineups. That brings us to Pro-Am, a lineup or class combining professional and amateur rated drivers. Amateur doesn't mean inexperienced. Many amateur rated drivers are accomplished and extremely competitive. They simply don't have the same professional resume as the highest rated drivers. The exact requirements vary between championships, but the system helps prevent every class from becoming an all-professional lineup. At number 6, we have stint. A stint is one continuous run between pit stops. It isn't necessarily a driver's complete turn behind the wheel. A driver can finish one stint, make a pit stop, and remain inside the car for another. Think of a stint like one shift at work. During that shift, the driver manages speed, tires, fuel, and traffic before returning to the pits. Comes in at 7 and 8, we have pit window and driver swap. A pit window is a designated part of the race when a required pit stop or driver change must be completed. Think of it like an appointment window. Arrive too early or too late, and the stop may not satisfy the requirement. During longer races, that stop can include a driver swap. One driver exits and another takes control. It works like passing the baton in a relay. The incoming driver must climb in, secure the belts, and connect equipment such as the radio and drink tube. Teams practice driver swaps because losing a few seconds in the pits can cost track position. At number 9, we have customer racing. Customer racing is one of the ideas at the heart of GT3. Manufacturers develop, build, and sell GT3 cars to independent racing teams. Those teams hire their own drivers and crew and operate their own programs. The manufacturers may provide parts, engineers, and technical support, but the customer teams runs the operation. Think of it as purchasing professional equipment, using it to operate your own business. That's why a GT3 car can represent a major brand without being run directly by the factory. At number 10, we have endurance racing. Endurance racing means multiple drivers share the same car over a long distance event. Speed still matters, but so do reliability, fuel, tires, pit stops, traffic, and avoiding unnecessary mistakes. Think of sprint racing as a 100-meter dash, and endurance racing is a marathon relay. The fastest car doesn't always win. The winning team must keep its car competitive and healthy until the final stage. That's the challenge behind races like the Rolex 24 at Daytona, the 24 Hours of Spa, and the 24 Hours of Le Mans. So quick recap, put everything together. Homologation approves the car, BOP manages the performance window, driver ratings help create Pro-Am lineups, stints, pit windows, and driver swaps shape strategy. Customer racing puts teams on the grid, and the endurance racing tests the entire operation. Once you understand these 10 terms, GT3 racing becomes much easier to follow. Now when you watch IMSA, GT World Challenge, or WEC, you'll recognize the language and understand more of what's happening behind the racing. So which out of the 10 terms should I explain more into detail? And also, what GT3 terminology should I include in part 2? Drop a comment below. Hope you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe.